Bienvenidos a Sesión Abierta, un programa de entrevistas con personalidades que tengan algo sustancioso y apasionante que decir sobre los temas del momento. Mi nombre es Emilio Betech, soy el creador y titular de este programa. Este es el episodio número 3 de Sesión Abierta. Y en esta ocasión les presento una conversación que sostuve con un gran personaje, el filósofo y escritor francés Bernard-Henri Lévy. A petición del invitado, este episodio de Sesión Abierta fue grabado y producido exclusivamente en audio. Bernard-Henri Lévy es uno de los intelectuales más importantes y algunos dirían controversiales de Europa. Desde hace casi 50 años ha estado en la encrucijada entre la filosofía, el periodismo, la religión y la política internacional. Nacido en Argelia, en el seno de una familia judía sefaradí, Lévy es y ha sido una celebridad cultural eminentemente europea y occidental. A lo largo de su carrera, Bernard-Henri Lévy ha generado polémica por sus opiniones y su activismo político. Ha repudiado a la izquierda y también a la derecha, particularmente por las vertientes autoritarias y regresivas de ambos bandos. Férreo crítico de los nacionalismos, es al mismo tiempo abiertamente sionista. Para algunos es un imperialista neoliberal, para otros un cosmopolita neoconservador y para otros más un pretencioso enamorado de sí mismo. Pero Bernard-Henri Lévy no se deja intimidar. En sus libros y artículos, en el cine y el teatro, ha defendido los valores liberales de las falanges de la intolerancia, sean estas políticas o religiosas. Hoy, en su más reciente visita a México, me senté con él para este tercer episodio de Sesión Abierta. En este mundo de extremismos, política tribal y realidades falsas, ¿es su mensaje una causa perdida? Bernard-Henri Lévy, thank you very much for talking with us. You have been a stalwart defender of liberal values, democracy, free enterprise, freedom of speech. You've stood up to the radical left, the radical right, radical Islam. But every day you open the news and it seems that the radicals keep on winning. Why is your message losing the war of ideas?
I don't think we are losing the war of ideas. I think that the radicals are winning some battles, this for sure, but they did not win the war. And as General de Gaulle said, you may win a battle, you may lose a battle, you may lose a big battle, but the war can still be won, and that is what the liberals will do.
Do you consider the biggest threat to liberal values coming from the right, from the left, or is it an equal opportunity offenders?
For both of them, they are the same for me. They are the same, they have a different flag, but the content is the same. So the threat comes from both, and they have very often common, they speak in the same way. Look, recently the American vote about the Armenian genocide, the recognition of Armenian genocide. Those who were against were extreme left and extreme right. They were against the recognition with nearly the same arguments. Again, different flag, but similar arguments. Extreme right, extreme left, radical Islam also.
You posted on your Twitter account that Ilhan Omar, recently she was in trouble because she said some anti-Semitic statements either on Twitter and on other types of forums, and then Congress was trying to pass a resolution condemning her statements, but they couldn't even do that, so they passed a resolution condemning all forms of hatred, all forms of racism, just in a general vague...
And it was a shame. It was a shame for the Democrats, honestly, because when you have an anti-Semitic statement, it has to be targeted and condemned as an anti-Semitic statement, and not in a sort of gray area of racist statements in general. No, anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism, and when when an African American is insulted, it is racism. It is not antisemitism, except if he's Jew. When a Jew is insulted, or where the state of Israel is stigmatized, it is antisemitism. It is not the general problem of intolerance, as the Democrats said. They failed to designate in this opportunity the enemy, in this circumstance the enemy. They failed to designate, to show it clearly. And this is a moral mistake.
You've been a very passionate activist against anti-Semitism, and you've spoken about the capacity for anti-Semitism to change and resurface in new clothing. You say that anti-Zionism is the new clothes for the old passion of anti-Semitism. Why is anti-Semitism so resilient, and why is it different from other forms of hatred like racism or homophobia or misogyny? What is so special or so, why is anti-Semitism different?
Because of what probably because of anti-Semitism is a plague, is an illness, a craziness, of course. But anti-Semites have a little idea, very stupid, but nevertheless a little idea of what the Jews plead for. They know that in Judaism there is something which is a rock opposing their values. The fascists, the totalitarian in general, those who hate democracy, those who want the return to the law of jungle, they know that they find in Judaism an opposition to their strategy. And they hate the Jews for that. They know vaguely, not clearly because they are stupid people, but they know vaguely that there is in the Jewish text, in the Jewish thought, something which always be an obstacle on their road. That's the reason why there is this obstination in hating the Jews.
And speaking more broadly about religion, I think that freedom of religion is also an endangered species nowadays. In Canada, in Europe, even the United States, there are growing attempts to ban, for example, the ritual slaughter of animals or circumcision. Just a few weeks ago, Beto O'Rourke, a U.S. Democratic candidate, said that all churches or synagogues that refuse to perform same-sex weddings should lose their tax-exempt status. I'm a secular liberal Jew, and this alarms me. Are you worried about the future of religion?
Yes, I'm worried about that, and I see these signs, but I think this will not win. This will not prevail, because the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims also will fight strongly to defend their right to believe and their right to worship. They will fight strongly, and I think on this matter they will win. What has to be defended, on my opinion, is what has to be opposed is the way in which certain people use religion in order to feed and to fill a political program. For example, you have today some people who use Islam in order to build a political strategy. This should not be admitted. But the right to worship, the right to go freely to mosque. In France, we had recently an attack on a mosque. I expressed immediately my total solidarity with the worshipper of this mosque in Bayonne. This is one thing. On the other side, you have some people who use some so-called religious signals in order to build and to help and to push a political program, which is jihad, radical Islam, and so on. This has to be fought.
And I want to get your take on freedom of speech. Most countries have laws restricting what they consider to be hate speech. In Germany, for example, it is a crime to deny the Holocaust. Other countries are now criminalizing expressions that they consider to be racist, homophobic, transphobic, etc., etc. Even in the United States, where so-called hate speech is protected under the First Amendment, there is now broad support for restricting what people can say. Where do you stand on this debate?
I think that that sometimes words can be bombs or words can be knife. And when words have as an aim, as a target to harm and to maybe wound or kill people, these words have to be, it is right to prevent them.
To restrict them. Obviously, I'm sure everyone agrees that open incitement to violence should not be condoned. I'm merely talking of unpopular or even offensive points of view, especially in social media where conspiracy theories and anti-Semitism do thrive. If we let Facebook or Twitter censor what we consider to be something offensive, how can we be so sure that tomorrow they won't censor us for our political or religious points of view?
Because a religious point of view is not the same as a fake news. If these companies used a law against fake political advertising in order to prevent a decent Jew or a decent Catholic to express his faith, it would be a scandal. It will be an assimilation which makes no sense. We have to be clever enough to say Facebook or Twitter should not destroy the democratic process by accepting some ads which are fake news, and on the same time, Twitter and Facebook have to encourage or to accept and even encourage decent believers to express their belief. These are two different things, and we are still not robots. We are still able to make the difference between a decent belief and an open lie.
I guess the question is, do you consider to be speech the same as violence?
It can be. Of course it can be. You remember the not the same, but there is a link. When you see that the murderer of the Christchurch Mosque in New Zealand say himself that some theories of grand remplacement did convince him that he had to kill, it raised a question. So I don't say that the theory of the grand remplacement has to be forbidden, but I say that at least there is a moral responsibility in the hands of those who convey these messages, not to present these theories as they want to be. I'm not against, for example, that, I don't know, let's say Mein Kampf of Adolf Hitler. I'm not against the book to be published.
Published or sold.
Or sold. But not like this, with a presentation, with some notes.
In context.
In context, with a warning, with all of that. After that, people are free, of course, to decide to become crazy or beasts or so on. But what is...
People have a right to be hateful at the end of the day.
You have to be hateful,
if you stand for liberalism.
But I have the right to stop them.
Correct.
I have the right to protect myself. I have the right to protect my family. I have the right to protect my co-citizens. And when the hate, and there is two different sorts of hate. You can hate a religion. This is a right inscribed, embedded in the Enlightenment. You have the right to hate religion. You have the right to wish a world of without priest, without rabbi, without imam. But if you imply that the rabbis, the imams, or the priests should be targeted as persons and attacked and so on, you have not the right. You have to make a difference between the attack on an ID and the attack on persons. And the democracies are wise enough and they have enough tools to make the difference. We are not enclosed in so simple choices. The hate preachers try to enclose ourselves in this stupid alternative. If you are against religion, then it means that you are against people. No, you can make the difference between the two.
Yesterday, I want to ask you about Donald Trump. Yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives moved closer to impeaching the sitting president of the United States. Donald Trump is perhaps the most polarizing figure on earth today. We all know what he has done wrong. Especially we can mention his abandoning the Kurds, which I know is very close to your heart, correctly. But in his 3 years in office, let me ask you the opposite. Has he done something right in your view?
Did he do something right? I don't know.
You're very hesitant to find something.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant.
His support for Israel, maybe?
Okay, let's say the support of Israel, except that the support of Israel, if it does not come from a genuine knowledge and love for Israel, I take the support, but I don't trust. I remain doubtful. I take the support, but I remain doubtful because I know that a support to Israel not grounded on Ahavat Israel is very fragile.
The love of Israel.
Love of Israel can turn into its contrary, can be can be the victim of a next deal with whoever.
Correct.
It is not bad. You're right, I should have quoted that, but with reserve and doubt.
And it seems to be more Ahavat Netanyahu, perhaps. He is more supportive of Netanyahu and Likud and his coalition than maybe the interest of the state of Israel.
I think that he's preoccupied by his own interest more than everything. I think that he has no idea of what Israel is. I think that he has no idea of what to be a Jew means. And I think that his gestures in favor of Israel is like the fool or the crazy man who at midday says there is light. Of course, there is light at midday, but he does not know exactly why. This is the situation of Trump with Israel.
We've just seen Israel go through a second election in less than 1 year, and it seems that Netanyahu's time may be over. Netanyahu, good for Israel, bad for Israel?
Netanyahu has done good things for Israel, but he has done a lot of bad things. He has done good things. He has defended the interest of Israel many times, for sure. Now, I think he has come to the end of this part of his career. He will have a future, I'm sure, but as a head of Israel, I think he arrived at a dead end. You cannot continue the way he's doing since a few years.
Final questions. You have a recent book called The Genius of Judaism. In your opinion, what is more important in Judaism, tradition or transformation?
Both of them, the two are linked. And the Talmud, which is the core of the spirit of Judaism, even more than the Torah. The Torah is respected by also by Christians, even by Muslims. The Torah is not specific. What is specific is Talmud. And what is Talmud? A real articulation between tradition and transformation. A real Talmudist is someone who unceasingly, without stop, transforms, reinterprets, finds a last, never seen interpretation of an old text.
What historical figure do you most admire?
I don't know, a lot. I could not name one.
A book that most shaped your worldview?
The Talmud.
Talmud. And finally, what is your favorite piece of music?
I don't listen to music.
You don't listen to music?
No.
Why?
I used to. I was a musician when I was, before I became a writer. Since I write books.
You played an instrument?
I played piano, piano. And since I became a writer, something strange happened, a strange chemistry in my mind. I stopped all of a sudden, overnight, to play and to listen to music.
And to listen to music.
Yeah.
I've never met someone that doesn't listen to music.
It's the case.
You don't miss it. You don't think it is important for...
I know it's important.
But not for you.
But I suppose that my love for music has been replaced by something else. Probably my love and my practice of words. But it is a fact. I cannot lie. I lived with music till I was 27, 28, maybe 30 years old. I lived with music. I played music every day, and all of a sudden, overnight, I definitely and radically stopped.
Well, that is something I've never heard before.
So you will hear it this morning.
Thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you, my dear.
Si te gustó este programa, puedes ayudarnos a que más gente lo conozca. Ayúdanos a correr la voz. Comparte esta entrevista en Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp o en las redes sociales que más utilices. Suscríbete a nuestro canal de YouTube. Búscanos como SESIÓN ABIERTA, Emilio Betech. Mi agradecimiento y gran afecto a Vivi Biskin, Raquel Feldman, Anita Feinsod, la Keilash Kenazí de México y Lina Abadi por haber hecho posible esta entrevista. La producción y edición estuvieron a cargo de Inside Producciones. Gracias nuevamente por escuchar y por correr la voz de este programa. Hasta la próxima.